Hello students, welcome to Minds Academy. This is Dr. Arvind. This is part 2 of chapter 14, and with this part we will be completing the chapter 14 of ethics. Now in this chapter, the first concept is Right to Information Act. Students, please remember, Right to RTI or Right to Information Act has been included both in public administration as well as ethics part. So why we are reading, or when we are reading about this topic, we need to make a slight differentiation between in our approach while we are reading this concept. So it is mostly like a GS answer when we deal with this concept in public administration, whereas in ethics we need to bring in certain other dimensions or arguments in order to fulfill these topics from an ethical perspective. So in this video lecture, I'll be covering both the public administration part and ethics part. For example, I'll be dealing with the advantages of the advantages. I'll be dealing with salient features, disadvantages, how to improve this act further, and what are the benefits of this act, and what are the recent amendments to this act, and what is the criticism of these amendments. At the same time, in the Rafale deal, there has been a huge conflict between Right to Information Act versus Official Secrets Act. So I'll be dealing with both Official Secrets Act as well as the relationship between the Right to Information Act and Official Secrets Act. So all these dimensions I'll be covering in this video lecture. So don't bother or don't confuse that by searching for RTI in the public administration video. So it is included, RTI is included in part 2 of chapter 14 of ethics. So please remember this. Now let us start with Right to Information Act. The main aim of this act is to empower citizens or empower people. So another main important aim of RTI is that to promote transparency and accountability in the working of government. Whenever there is transparency and accountability, it will contain corruption and it will make our democracy work for people in a real sense. So these are 4 aims of RTI. Now coming to salient features. See, I have included 4 basic salient features. You don't need more than this in order to write an answer. So salient features is that RTI empowers every citizen of India to request for an information from a public authority who is required to reply expeditiously or within a time period of 30 days. Now the minimum fee for this application is 10 rupees. Now each authority or office must appoint their public information officer. However, there are certain exceptions. Exceptions not only in terms of offices but also certain category of informations. For example, agencies like IB, BSF, CRPF come outside the ambit of RTI. At the same time, information pertaining to internal security, public safety, correspondence with foreign government are also excluded. Now coming to advantages, the first advantage is that it will empower the citizens. It will create human empowerment. It will check corruption, reduces the arbitrariness in decision making, so that decision making is done only objectively as per rules, regulations and law. Now simple procedure to get information, just you need to file one basic form to get the information. Now let us look at some of the disadvantages. Diversion of scarce government resources to provide information. Already the government resources are scarce, and whatever the existing resources are there, they are being diverted to provide information. Now I'll deal with second and third point in detail. First, let us go for the fourth point. RTI activists often blackmail officers in the name of RTI. Now let us look at these second and third points. See, in every decision making, there are 2 kinds of decision making. Let us assume or let us understand this by taking an example of a bank manager. Now here a bank manager has to give a loan or he has to write off a loan. Let us assume these two cases. Either he has to give a loan or he has to write off a loan. Now, in order to give a loan, for example, a person called X approaches this bank manager for a loan. Now, this bank manager will study the business project or prospect of this person X who has submitted a particular business project and he is seeking loan for that business project. Now this bank manager will study that business project, and based on his rationality he will see that whether this business project will survive or not, and based on his decision making or based on his knowledge he'll make a decision whether to give a loan to this individual or whether not to give a loan to this individual. If the bank manager feels that yes, this is a sound business prospect and there is a greater chance of this business being successful and it will expand, then this bank manager will give a loan of, say, assume 100 crore to this person X for his business B. Now here bank manager has taken decision solely on the basis of rationality, by making a sound judgment of this business project, by studying carefully, as well as by taking into the market conditions into account. Now such a kind of decision is called bona fide decision. Now please understand this, such a kind of decision is called bona fide decision. Now what if this bank manager, suppose this person who has approached this bank manager becomes appears to be his friend or some of the members of this family. Now they will put forward a business project that is not sound and most likely to collapse, or the business is most unlikely to run. Even then, if this bank manager gives a loan of this 100 crore, then his decision is malified. Now suppose on a particular day, investigation agency, assume CBI, approaches to this bank manager on the basis of allegations that he has given this 100 crore loan to the first person in spite of taking a bona fide decision to this person X. Now he has given this loan without making any rationality or reasoned judgment. Now here the bank manager in the first case, he has given a loan of 100 crores by making or by on a sound principles of rationality and reason. Yet if this business collapses, why? Because see, on a particular day we don't know what will happen. Now we have experienced something called COVID-19. Now we have seen so many enterprises or startups, even though their ideas have been based on sound principle, yet they collapsed because they have to foresee this unforeseen pandemic, yet they collapsed. Now can you say that here this bank manager, even though he has made a bona fide decision, but the outcome is bad? The outcome is a loss of 100 crore to the bank. Now when a CBI investigation agency investigates this bank, now will this bank manager should be blamed, or will you say he is a corrupt officer, or will you say he is a honest officer? Now you can take a decision of a particular loan on the basis of reason and rationality, but you cannot control the outcome. Now the outcome is not in the hands of this bank manager. So here the officers avoided taking difficult decision, even though this bank manager feels that this business has got a very good prospects, yet but the output is not in his hands. So he will have to take a difficult decision. But what if one day an investigation agency in the form of CBI comes, even though he has taken a bona fide decision, yet he has been put into jail, yet he has been judged as a corrupt officer. Now what if it's a modified decision? So here, in case it is a modified decision, yes, the bank manager has to be put behind bars. But what if a bona fide decision, even if it is taken on the grounds of reason and rationality, but the outcome is bad? Now here you cannot call this bank manager as corrupt. But at the same time, here what can a bank manager do? He can take only the decision. The outcome is not in his hands. So this RTI has prohibited many officers to take difficult decisions. Even when they take a bona fide decision, if the outcome is bad, then the officer is judged as corrupt. Now this is the primary reason why, similarly in the case of loan writing off, a bank manager has to make a decision whether this business will thrive, or if I give an additional loan, or if the business will not thrive. Now, if the bank manager assumes that there is no chance of this business to thrive and he will write off loans, even though if you take a bona fide decision, someday some person may come that and say that this bank manager has taken a modified decision but not a bona fide. Why? Because all this depends upon certain external circumstances. The outcome depends upon certain external circumstances. For that, you cannot blame this bank manager. So it also resulted in harassment of honest officers. Now, coming to the reality of RTI Act. Now, RTI Act is most hyped act which has demoralized many honest government officers. This is the prime example what I told you. Now, coming to the second point, that is, you can't take administrative action against corrupt officers or malicious officers. Why? Because what you need is two things. One is evidence, but this evidence should be in the form of a document or writing. At the same time, this evidence has to be adequate. So an evidence has to fulfill these two criteria. It must be a documentary evidence and evidence must be adequate and beyond doubt. Now, most people are not aware of the negative side of RTI because public servants are not allowed to express their views on or views in the media. This is nothing but anonymity. So this is because of this, most of the people are not aware of the negative side of RTI. Now, how to reduce the negative impact of RTI? The information asked should pertain to the person asking the information. At the same time, if the information is asked in public interest, what is that public interest must be disclosed. Now, what in case there must be a penalty for frivolous RTI applications. The realistic cost of providing information must be recovered from the applicant. Why? Because the government resources are already scarce. Now, the information must come with a caveat that it can't be used for commercial or publicity purpose. Now, these are few suggestions on how to reduce the negative impact of RTI. With this, we have completed the ethical dimension of dealing the concept of RTI. Now,